going on,
Hey,
fellas?
hey, Joe, thanks for taking the time to come down here and do this. We'll jump right into it and get started here with Jimmy Kempski and then Les Bowen.
Okay.
Hey, Joe. Were you given an indication that you'll have an opportunity to compete for the starting job, or was it made clear that you're coming to Philly to back up Jalen Hurts?
No, we didn't really talk about that too much. I mean, I talked a little bit to Nick about just coming in here and looking at the benefits and weighing the positives and negatives and all those things. And listen, right now I'm here to play, to play a part in the role of 53-man roster, that wants to win a lot of football games. So obviously I'm a competitor, and listen, I think that all those things and being competitive brings out the best in a room anyway, and brings out the best in a football team. So that's really, the conversation that we've had at this point.
Hey, Les Bowen and then Martin Frank.
Hey, Joe, welcome.
How you doing?
What were those positives that you weighed in coming here? And did you get a sense, obviously this is a new coaching staff for us. We haven't seen anything. Did you get a sense of any kind of sense of the offense that you'll be moving into, what it will be about?
Right. A little bit. I mean, we talked offense a little bit, but it was really more about just getting to know these guys. And I think a lot of the positives revolved around that. Seems like a really young coaching staff that has a lot to prove. And anytime you have a bunch of guys that want to prove a lot in this league and win a lot of games, and that's their main focus, those are the things that stick out at you. So, I love that Nick and Shane and all the guys on that offensive side of the ball are guys that are want to make a name for themselves and do that by winning in Philadelphia. So I think that's a pretty cool opportunity to be a part of.
Have you ever been older than your offensive coordinator or your quarterback's coach?
Oh man, I don't think so. Not to this point, but I don't think that's a bad sign. The longer you can stay around, then hopefully that happens at some point. So there you go.
Thanks.
Hey, Martin and then Jeff Skaversky.
Hey, Joe, welcome back. I wanted to ask you grew up in South Jersey, played at the University of Delaware. How much does this mean for you to be able to come back and play close to home, near your family, friends, and all that stuff?
Well, it's exciting. Definitely been getting a lot of attention from all my buddies back at home recently. But listen, I grew up in this town, and I know what it's like. I mean, there can be a lot of positives, there can be a lot of negatives about that. Just knowing what we're like around here. So I just anticipate it being a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it. I think it's a great opportunity for me and my family just to be here where we are and in a great situation. So I'm excited about, what the future brings and how it's going to play out in this town. But, I know it's a lot of passionate people that love football and love their sports in general. And like I said, it can be a fun ride.
And what did you do with, I guess I saw the picture with you and your Eagles t-shirt when you were a kid. I mean, how awesome is that to be able to play for that team you grew up for?
Well, it's a lot of fun, and it's going to be pretty cool, especially for a lot of the guys that I grew up, playing with and going to high school with, and all those things. I think they're going to be super excited, and there's a lot comes along with that. A lot of responsibility. They're very passionate about their Eagles, and they want to see us win, and I got to play my part in that and make sure I'm holding up my end of the bargain.
Thanks.
Okay, Jeff Skaversky and then Jeff McClain.
Hey, what's up, Joe? How are you?
How you doing, Jeff?
Good. Want to take you kind of back when you were a kid growing up playing football with your siblings and or dad in the backyard, things like that. Would you kind of envision like one day, throwing a pass for the Philadelphia Eagles?
It honestly wasn't too much of a thought. I had no idea. I was just a kid out there, and I was probably acting like I was Fred Barnett, and who else knows who at that point? Keith Byers and all those guys, Reggie White. I can go back that far to those teams, and then when I was in high school, watching McNabb and all those guys, get to all those NFC Championship games. I've played a couple games in this stadium, and it's I came back here when I was in college at some point. I didn't play. I've been back here when I was in Baltimore, and I was always excited to kind of come in to this city and this field and get a chance to play against the Eagles. I always felt like it, it meant a little bit more. So now to have the opportunity to put on this jersey, I really feel like it's going to mean a lot to me, and hopefully I can represent it well.
And can I follow up? What did your? I'm sure your parents are thrilled, and I'm sure you've had these amazing moments in your career. What was mom and dad's reaction when you told them you were going to go to the Eagles?
Well, it's funny. Everybody asks me that, how happy is your family and all that. And honestly, they just want what's best for me. They want me to be happy. And, the fact that I am and the fact that I'm excited about this opportunity, I think that's what makes them, feel the best.
Thank you.
Okay, Jeff McClain and then Zach Berman.
Joe, a year ago, you were coming off the injury, and it probably affected your marketability. You had to take a job, which was essentially a backup job. Now that you're probably in better shape, do you feel like this gives you a better opportunity to compete for a starting job, or maybe there weren't more of those types of offers out there?
Right. Now, listen, I definitely feel really good. I felt like I got a good opportunity last year, and grateful for that, to go play a little bit and show that I can still do some things, and that I was healthy. And that's what I talked about. I'm here to do my role, and all I know how to do is be competitive and compete. And I think either way, that's going to bring out the best in this team, and that's what I'm ready to do.
Okay, Zach Berman, then Tim McManus.
Hey, Joe, as a follow-up to that, what kind of opportunities were out there? Was this the hometown pull that swayed you to the Eagles, or was this more of a football decision for you?
No, there's definitely a couple interests out there, and I really didn't want to bring in the location as a factor in my decision. I wanted to give myself the best opportunity to be in a good situation, and I just felt like, the new coaching staff and their youth and their excitement and the possibility of what they're going to bring, really led the decision.
Okay, Tim McManus and then Mike Kay.
Hey, Joe, there's been some questions about just how you view kind of mentoring a young quarterback. What is your take on that, especially right now as it applies to Hurts, and have you kind of evolved in that way over the course of your career?
Right. Well, listen, I think I've spoken to it a little bit, and just saying that, I'm here to do what's best for our team and help us win football games. And the thing I've said so far is that, I think competition, in any room and on any team is something that brings out the best. And, that's really what I'm here to do. And I know we've talked about it before in different places and things like that, but, I think it's that simple. This is, a football team is not one or two guys. It's a bunch of guys doing what they're supposed to do. And, quarterback rooms, that's how they are in general anyway. You get in there and you grind, and you go to town on the game plan, and it's always, it's always a very tight room that everybody in there has a lot of input and bounces things off of each other, and we work together to get the job done. So that's how it's going to be, and that's how it always is.
Okay, Mike Kay and then John Clark.
Hey, Joe. Nick obviously worked with 3 different starting quarterbacks in Indy. Shane's obviously worked with Tyrod, who you have a relationship with. Did you reach out to Phillip or Tyrod or Andrew to kind of get a sense of the play calling and the coaching style of any of these guys?
I did not. I thought about reaching out to Tyrod, but I didn't end up doing it. I felt comfortable enough when I came in here and met with these guys, and liked the feel I got from them, liked the little bit of stuff that I got on the football side of them. And, I obviously Shane was out there last year in LA, and they were able to do some good things with a young quarterback. And, there's some exciting things there for sure.
John Clark and then Dave Zangaro.
Hey, Joe, congrats on coming home here.
Yeah, thank you.
So will you mentor Jalen Hurts and help him?
Well, like I said, I think every quarterback room, guys help each other. That's what we're here for. That's what the whole team does. So I'm gonna do my part, and we're gonna win a lot of football games. And part of that is getting in the QB room, grinding, and helping each other out.
Okay, Dave Zangaro and then John McMullen.
Hey, Joe. You've mentioned competition a few times already. So, do you think you're going to have a legitimate shot to compete for the starting job here?
I'm not even really looking at it that way at this point. Like I said, I really would just want to come in and, your goal as a football player is always to show people, around you that you can play football. And I don't care what level of playing that is, whether you're the first string, second string, third string guy on the team, you still want to prove to everybody on the football team that you can play football and that you deserve a spot on this team in some capacity. And that's really what my job is. Once I meet the guys and get, dive into this offense, it's going out in the field and proving to everybody that I'm not just some old guy that's been around the league and, is coming to a new team. My job is to prove to these guys that, I deserve some respect and I can play this game at a high level. And that's really what I mean by being competitive and competing, is just showing guys that, I know how to do this, and I'm going to show you that I know how to do this. You don't have to look at what I've done in the past or, in a positive way or negative way. Just take it for what it is, what you see today, and that's what I'm here to do.
Okay, John McMullen and then Ed Kratz.
Hey, Joe, welcome back. You mentioned you didn't want location to necessarily play a role in your decision. Curious how close you got to Andy Weidel down in Baltimore, and if he, him being in this organization had an impact on you.
Yeah, I think anytime you have people that, you've been with in the past and have a little bit of, knowledge for the type of player that you are and the type of person that you are, I think it definitely helps with your decision. The fact that I can go grab a coffee in town and happen to bump into him is definitely doesn't hurt. So, I'm excited about that.
Ed Kratz and then Rob Motti.
Yeah, hi, Joe. With the Eagles being your hometown team, how closely did you follow them when you were in Baltimore? And then have you heard from Jalen Hurts, texted or talked to him or anybody else on the team at this point?
Yeah, I'm always keeping an eye on them. And obviously, when I'm away from here, man, when I was in Baltimore, I was the biggest Baltimore fan in the world. And it was honestly a lot of fun to have the chance to play against the Eagles, because I wanted to beat them even more just from being around here. So obviously, this is going to be a little bit different angle on that and probably even more fun. And Jalen texted me when the news came out. He's excited about it. I told him I'm excited about it as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Okay, we have time for two more, so we'll end it here with Rob Motti and then Rob Kessner.
Hey, Joe, you've mentioned a couple times how competitive you are, and you've obviously had a ton of success in the league, been a Super Bowl MVP. You entered every season as a starter except last year. What did you learn from that experience last year going into it as a backup and being a backup mostly? And how do you set aside, obviously it takes a certain kind of ego to be as successful as you've been. How do you set that aside when you got to kind of take a back seat?
Well, listen, I don't think you do set it aside. I still believe in myself and believe in all the things that I can do. I think that's the only way that you're going to get to where you want to and do the things you want to do. What I learned about myself last year was I love football, and it doesn't really matter the capacity that I'm doing it, in. I love football, and I love the opportunity to come in here with the guys every day and do what I love. Go out in the practice field and compete with everybody and bring the best out in every single person in the room. I love doing it. And, last year definitely proved that, just because it was a little bit of a different role and I still enjoyed it, to the nth degree. So can't wait for it again.
Okay, we'll end it here with Rob Kessner.
Joe, back to just coming home, couple things. One, just curious, how many text messages and/or has your phone stopped blowing up yet? And then secondly, how are you going to handle ticket requests?
Oh man, the ticket request thing I haven't actually thought about. I just won't respond. Everybody texts these days; they don't really call, so I just won't respond to texts probably, or I'll try to pass them off to somebody else. And as far as getting a bunch of people reaching out over the last couple of days, it definitely has started to kind of taper off a little bit. But people were excited, and it made me feel good. And when I'm walking around town and I see people, I think everybody's generally excited about it. So it gets you going. It gets your juices flowing a little bit.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Thanks, everyone.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.